Hi Al, Mike here. We're going to make a wine and cheese tray. You can basically put the stem of any glass in on the left hand side of it, and we're going to cut it out of maple or cherry. So this is kind of what it's going to look like, and let's go into the modeling part of it. Okay, so the first thing we do, this is using Vectrix VCarve Pro, is we're going to go ahead and create a square. I've got the size of this is 10.5 inches by 5.5 inches and 3/4 of an inch thick. We're measuring, the starting position is the machine bed. We're measuring from the center, and that's pretty much all we need there. It's single-sided. So the first thing we're going to do is create a 10 inch by 5 inch square, and we'll start that. Clicking that, zeroing on the center of this, and then we'll put in the dimensions, 10 and 5. The next thing we'll do is put in a circle, and that's going to be at -3.5 in X and 0 in Y. The diameter 1.5 inches. And the next thing we're going to do is put in some lines here. It basically we're going to make that slot for the stems to fit in. So this needs to be at 2.5, and it just needs to intersect straight across into the circle. It doesn't have to be a particular length. And once we've done that, then we're just going to flip it around the center, flip it vertical, close that. Okay, and now what we want to do is trim all the parts that we don't want on this. So we'll just use our little clippers here, and I'm going to get rid of that center and that center. Then we'll go ahead and get rid of the extra edges here. Okay, that's the basic shape we got, and now we have to fillet these corners here so they all round nicely. And use our fillet tool here. And we'll start off at 0.5 inches for the outside corners. It's that one over here on the right, down at the bottom right, and then off to the bottom left. And then we want to set these corners at 1/4 inch. So we'll do that, cut each one of these, and that's it. That's our entire shape. We're going to go ahead and create our toolpaths for it. Okay, so let's talk about the toolpaths. You see we have 7 toolpaths lined up here. 3 of them are responsible for the interior of this whole thing. There's 2 that do a roughing pass and 1 that does a finishing pass on the inside. Then we have 2 that do the outside of this. 1 is a roughing pass and 1 is a finishing pass. And then we have 2 that do a chamfer. 1 does the outside of this around the outer edge, and then another does one along the inner edge. Okay, so let's get into these real quick. Here's roughing pass for the interior. This is the pocket of this. Okay, and what we have is 2 bits, a 1.5 inch, which does a big clearing pass. It's going to take care of the majority of this internal area here. We start at 0, we go down to Z -3/8. Now Z is 3/4, -3/8, so that's half of it, minus 0.02 inches. Again, this is roughing pass. We're going to take care of that 0.02 inches in the finishing pass. Okay, so we have the parameters here for the 1.5 inch. It's raster, conventional. It does a clearance on the last pass. And we have a 2-inch ramp on it, which means it's going to go down, or it's going to go across 2 inches while it ramps down 0.05 of an inch. And let me show that real quick. The maximum depth that this particular bit will go is 0.05 inches. Okay, and here's the speeds for it, 60 and 30. And again, that 30 sounds very high for 1.5 inches, but we're using that ramp, so it really isn't a problem. Okay, and then we have a pocket allowance of 0.385 inches. You'll see in the finishing pass that we have a pocket allowance of 0.375 inches. So we're going to pick up that extra 1/10 of an inch around the edges here. All right, so let's go ahead and calculate that. And you'll see that it creates the 2 items here. I'm going to turn one of them off. Here's our 1.5 inch end mill that takes care of the majority of the insides of this dish. And you have the 1/4 inch, which is going to take care of the areas where the 1.5 inch bit can't get into the corners, as well as where it can't get past the edges here. So that's what all the 1/4 inch will take care of. Okay, so that's the roughing pass. And get to the finishing pass. And the finishing pass, again, we start off at that Z -3/8 minus 0.02 inches. and I only go 0.02 inches down. And then here's that pocket allowance where you pick up that extra 1/100th of an inch around the outer edge. We also are running this a lot faster. The other one, we had the feed rate, I didn't show it. It was 80 inches, now we're doing 120, and the plunge rate was 40, now we're doing 60. And again, that's because we're taking off so little material that we can move much faster. Okay? And let's go ahead and show that. And that's our pocket dish finish and mill 1/4. Okay, we'll calculate that. You see these are much closer together. All right, so the next thing we do is we do an outside cutout. And this is going to go around the outside of this. And again, we're using this 1/4 inch end mill. It's going to drop through this 3/4 of an inch in 6 passes, which means that each pass depth is 1/8 of an inch, a feed rate of 60, and a plunge depth of 30. And again, since this is a roughing pass, we have an allowance offset of 0.02 inches. And then we use ramps and leads to basically take care of getting into the edge here so we don't leave some burn marks when the bit goes up and down. All right, and again, profile cutout, roughing, end mill, 1/4 inch. Okay, let's go ahead and calculate that. And you see that it's going along the outer edge of this. All right, and now we're going to have the finishing pass version of this. And one big difference is we do full pass and one stop here. Everything is done in a single pass. Difference is, the reason we can do that is we're only taking off, remember our allowance offset was 0.02 inches, we're only taking off 2/107 inch from this. Basically that's to give it a smoother edge. When we do this in steps, you can actually see little tiny marks from the end mill at each of the steps that it goes down. So this will remove those. Okay, and again we have that same ramps that we had before, and this is our profile cutout finish at end mill with a 1/4 inch. Okay, so let's go and get rid of those two, and the next two are chamfering the outer and the inner. Okay, we changed our depth to 0.08 inches, and we have a different bit here. We have a V bit, 90 degrees with a carbide insert, and it's 11/16 of an inch is the outer edge of that. It can actually plunge to 11/32 of an inch is what that number is. Feed rate and plunge rate 60 and 20. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply that. And notice our allowance offset is 0.08 inches. That means that we're going to cut to the outside of this 0.08 inches using this larger bit. All right, and also on the edit on the passes, the first pass we do 0.06 inches deep, and we do 0.08 inches deep. We basically want a smoother second pass again. This is kind of doing our roughing and finish pass at the same time. Profile chamfer outer, VC is V-carve or V-bit, 90 degree 11/16. Let's calculate that. And you see it's basically doing this chamfering along the edges here. And we're doing the same thing with the inner. We just have a different allowance offset of 0.3 inches. That will bring us to the inside of this. And notice we're doing inside left instead of outside right as the previous one was, using that same 0.06 and 0.08 depth. Okay. The rest is pretty much the same. Profile chamfer inner, VC 90 11/16. Calculate that, and you see that it's on the inside of this. All right, so let's go ahead and, okay, so I've reset this. We're going to use this large bit, and we're going to show it at full speed. And you can see where it's using this ramp down for this portion, and it comes back and takes off. All right, and it's going to do several of these because it's only 0.05 inches, and it needs to go down nearly 3/8 of an inch. All right, these next ones I'm going to slow down a little bit, and these are all the 1/4 inch passes. Those two. And you can see it knocking down the edges. And then you can see the finishing pass. You see how that's taking a much shallower cut. Okay, and now we're going to do the profile cuts, which basically cuts the outer wood, the invisible toolpaths. we have here are the chamfer passes. And I'll slow that down even more. Here's the outer one, and it does it in 2 passes. And here's the inner one, again in 2 passes. Right, and there's our project. So we'll go ahead and take it out to the CNC and watch it do its thing. Thanks for listening.